Hey, Tom, can you hear me? If you're in your hometown on the 18th, I might try and hook up with you next Friday. Perfect. It's a date. We'll coordinate.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:30, so I'd like to call the April 9th Board of Directors meeting to order. First, I'll do the recognition of territories. I'd like to acknowledge that we're conducting this meeting on the unceded traditional territories of the Shuswap and Huipachesset First Nations. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to do so. We also have directors calling in from other territories, and also would like to acknowledge those nations and express our gratitude, honor, respect, and that we are grateful to be here on their lands on which we live, work, and play. Notice to attendees and delegates that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed to YouTube on the Regional District website. And if anyone is watching and has questions or comments, please send those questions to responses@acrd.bc.ca. So we'll do introductions. First, we'll go around the room for the people that are here in the boardroom at the Regional District Office. And then we'll go online because you do have people zooming in on the call, on the meeting today. Chair Jack is not able to be here today, so he sends his regrets. My name is Debbie Haggard. I am Vice Chair of the Regional District Board and Councillor for the City of Port Alberni. So we'll go this way.
Good afternoon, Cynthia Dick, General Manager of Administrative Services.
Good afternoon, Todd Patola, Councillor with the City of Port Alberni.
Hello, everyone. Haklama Penny Cote. I am the Electoral Area Director for Sprout Lake.
Good afternoon. I am Mike Sparrow, Electoral Area for Cherry Creek.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mariah Coots, representative for the Hutchins Tribe Government, Clecco Chu.
Good afternoon. I'm Daniel Siam, the CAO for the ACRD.
Thank you. So now we'll go online. I'll just call you in the order that I see you. First of all is Director Roth. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Susan Roth, good afternoon, everyone. Susan Roth, the Director for Beaver Creek.
Director Siga. You're muted, Director Siga.
There. Thank you. Beta Siga, Director for REAC Long Beach.
Thank you. Director Beckett, and I wasn't at the last meeting. I just want to welcome you back home, and I'm happy that you've returned safe and sound to us. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Bob Beckett, representing Area A, Bamfield. Thank you.
Director Boyko.
Fred Boyko, Electoral Area Director for Beaufort.
Director Steer.
Yes, good afternoon. Tom Steer, appointed Director, District of Tofino.
Director Johnson.
Good afternoon, Kirsten Johnson, Director for the Toquot Nation.
Director Mastrangelo.
Good afternoon, Lavana Mastrangelo, Director from Ucluelet First Nation, Ucluetas.
Thank you. Charity, are you there online to introduce yourself?
I am Charlie Sterrett, Regional Fire Services Manager.
Thank you. I think I've got everyone. If somebody comes in late, we'll introduce themselves as if when they join. We do have an agenda in front of us, and you have a couple late items. Late item 9.1C, correspondence received, and note item 8B, financial statements have been amended. So you should have received those by email. Is there any other additions from directors? Director Cote?
I'll move the agenda as amended. Thanks.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder? Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Sparrow. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Is there any declarations, conflicts of interest, or gifts exceeding $250 in value? Seeing none, we'll go on to the approval of minutes or adoption of minutes. First, we have the Board of Directors meeting dated March 26, 2025. Is any errors or omissions? Seeing none, could a motion that the minutes of the Board of Directors meeting held on March 26, 2025 be adopted? Moved by Director Sparrow, second by Director Coots. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next is the Parcel Tax Review Panel meeting dated February 26, 2025. Is there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, could I get a motion that the minutes of the Parcel Tax Review Panel meeting held on February 26, 2025 be adopted? Moved by Director Sparrow, second by Director Patola. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have petitions, delegations, and presentations. First up is Lenora Need, the lead audit engagement partner, and Cameron Rice-Gorell, senior manager from KPMG. They're presenting our 2024 ACRD audit findings report. This is always an exciting time of the year to listen to this report. So I'm not sure which one of you is going to be starting, but please go ahead.
Great. Good afternoon. Thanks everyone for having us at your meeting today. We wanted to take you through the highlights of our audit findings report, which is included in your package. We won't go through details, but please feel free to stop us along the way if you'd like us to go into more depth or if you have any questions related to the contents. So it might just take a second here to share. In terms of overall audit status, we are substantially complete our audit. We were on site at the Regional District Office last month and were able to complete all of the procedures required to get to this position here. The only matters that are outstanding are review of the findings report with the board, as well as acceptance of the financial statements. So nothing unexpected in terms of unusual items or outstanding items at this point in time. Our auditor's report included within the financial statements is a clean and unqualified audit opinion. And so that indicates there's no material errors that exist with them and that they do present fairly in accordance with public sector accounting standards, which are the accounting rules that the regional district is required to follow as a government entity. The first page here of our audit highlights, I'll go through a little bit more detail in each of the sections as to the contents. In our planning report, which was included in your board package earlier this year, we described materiality and our planned materiality level of 550,000. We use that for scoping of audit procedures, as well as evaluating the impact of any unrecorded audit differences at the end of the year. We did not make any changes to materiality as we proceeded through the audit, so that 550,000 was applied. And what that means from an audit misstatement threshold is that if we had noted audit differences greater than 27,500, we would have recommended those be adjusted within the financial statements and included within this audit report. And if there's smaller dollar values, for example, a $10 difference between the bank statement and the figures recorded in the financial statements, we would consider that to be trivial. It does not impact any decision making being made on the financial statements and would not recommend adjustment from an efficiency perspective or value perspective. In terms of areas of focus, these next few pages just speak to some of the key areas that we focus on in the audit process. The first relates to fraud risk, specifically related to management override of controls. This is a requirement for all audits. It's embedded within the standards that we follow to conduct our audit. Every year, we are required to focus on this area. So there's nothing specifically related to the regional district that is driving this particular risk, nor anything specific to the regional district that we're concerned about, where there would be increased opportunity or incentive to perpetrate a fraud through management override of controls. What this risk really means is that, the day-to-day operating controls around cash payments, check signing, authorization for payroll, payroll, all of that may be functioning well. However, in the preparation of the financial statements, management still can record manual journal entries or manual adjustments in order to achieve a particular outcome in the financial statements. For example, achieving a budget to actual within budget. In response to this particular risk, we've noted 3 procedures here in our summary report, which include testing journal entries, particularly around year-end or unusual account combinations, performing a review of estimates where there might be more opportunity for management bias or more judgment involved, as well as evaluating the business rationale for significant unusual transactions. In performing those procedures, we had no issues to bring to the board's attention. I'll turn it over to Cameron here, who's just going to speak to a few of the other areas of focus in the financial statements.
Government transfers and deferred revenue. So we obtain an updated understanding of the process with management.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
So my apologies. Can you hear me?
It's just a bit muffled in terms of sound.
Can you hear me better now?
That's
Much better.
Thank you.
So the first area of focus that I will touch on is government transfers and deferred revenue. So we obtain an updated understanding of the process with management. We sample government transfers received during the year. So for each sample, we agree to cash receipt. We inspect the agreement or grant letter to understand if the transfer is unrestricted and can be recognized into revenue immediately, or if there are restrictions on the grant that require certain expenditures or activities to take place in order to recognize the revenue. For any transfers with restrictions, we review eligible expenditures and other supporting documentation to verify the appropriateness of the deferred revenue and revenue split, and we have no findings to report with respect to this area. The next section we look at is tangible capital assets. So again, we obtain an updated understanding of the process with management. We test a sample of additions added throughout the year by agreeing to invoice or other external document. For assets that are put into service during the year, we also validate the appropriateness of the useful life, the in-use date, and the amortization policy. We also perform analytical procedures over the amortization expense that's taken during the year by using the prior year plus known changes to develop our expectation. In the prior year, you would have noted that there was a new accounting standard, asset retirement obligations, that was adopted. As part of this year's audit process, we assess the subsequent measurement of the asset retirement obligation balance. And this is made up of the 2 landfills, as well as any buildings with AROs attached to them. So we validated the appropriateness of assumptions used in this estimate, which includes discount rate and inflation rate. We also validated the appropriateness of any changes that were made to the estimate, and we feel comfortable that the estimate is appropriate. We also validated the capital additions associated with the Long Beach Airport lease agreement. So we validated the amortization period and the appropriateness of the journal entries recorded, and we have no findings to report with respect to tangible capital assets. Other areas of focus include cash investments in debt and revenues and expenses. So for cash investments in debt, we confirm directly with the third parties those balances. We also recalculate investment income and interest expense. And then finally, we test a sample of cash disbursements made after year to ensure that they're appropriately recorded in the correct period, and we have no findings to report. With respect to revenue and expenses, there was one new accounting standard that was adopted this year, which is PS 3400 revenue. We obtained management's assessment of the impact on adoption. We reviewed the materials provided, and we concur with their conclusions of the impact to the financial statements on adoption. Other things we do with respect to revenue, we test tax requisitions received by agreeing to bylaw and cash receipt. We perform analytical procedures over other revenue balances by using prior year and known changes to develop our expectation. With respect to expenses, we perform sampling over expenses by agreeing to invoice or agreement. And for salaries and benefits, we perform analytical procedures using prior year plus changes in pay rate to arrive at our expectation. And then we have no findings to report. I'll now pass it back to Lenora.
Thanks, Cameron. Just a couple other comments here in summary. So this page here summarizes any corrections that were made in between the initial draft financial statements and the final draft included in your package today. Overall, this is a very clean audit. It's not unusual to have a few corrected and uncorrected items, and this is a very short list overall. So we're really pleased with the quality of the records and the quality of information that has been provided to you as a board during the course of the year, in that there are limited corrections noted here. One item that was corrected is only in the financial statement disclosures. So this did not impact the statement of financial position or the surplus for the year. There was one manual error in the commitments note disclosure related to the landfill obligation commitment, just adding one more year of future commitments on cash flow that is committed under that contract. We do not think that's a pervasive item, and have audited the other items within this note and have not noted any other issues with that disclosure. And then the uncorrected items, you'll recognize from prior years in terms of the first two items, no significant concern from us either. The information in your statements is presented in a way that is most useful to yourselves as readers and users of those financial statements. For example, the categorization and groupings of capital assets as well as your expenses. So while these appear as uncorrected misstatements, I think it's actually more useful information to you in the financial statements, and these did not impact our overall opinion on the accuracy of the financial statements. Lastly, control observations. We are required as auditors to comment on any significant or material control deficiencies we note as part of our audit. So these would be areas where there could be a gap in internal controls that might result in a material error not being detected by management. We have not noted any such control deficiencies, and as a result, this page here is really just confirming that we did not find any significant or material control deficiencies to bring to the board's attention. Those were really the highlights of our report we wanted to touch on. There is a bit more information in the appendices for your perusal. Happy to take any questions on that. Lastly, we'd just like to thank the finance team and really the regional district team for all of their help with the audit process. We know it takes place at a busy time of year, and it is a lot of work to have us ask a whole bunch of more questions and request a number of documents, but really appreciate all of the assistance. We received a lot of timely responses to all of our questions, full access to the finance team, and are really pleased with the overall results. So happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Before I go to any questions from the board, I just want to say I really like how you laid out your presentation this year. It was simple and easy to read and easy to follow. And I also want to give a shout out to Terry and her wonderful finance team. They always do a great job, so thank you. Any questions or comments? Director Boyko.
Yes, thank you. Just a question to the auditors. So there's always a concern about seeing what the cash and cash equivalents are, but in your audit, you specifically state that you were able to see these in person, like log into accounts and verify that the amounts are actually valid. Thank you.
Yes, we perform a few procedures. Direct confirmation is what we call it. We reach out to the bank and ask them to send us directly what the values are in their records and compare that to the district records. And then there are investments held with Municipal Finance Authority pooled funds. And so we do the same there, request validation of the amounts in the custodian accounts. No differences were noted in that regard.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? Daniel, please go ahead.
Just wanted to flag, I don't think you'll be with us for the hospital district board. And so just wanted to flag that if there were any questions from that side, if you would take them now, if there are any. I know that sort of sudden. But I wanted to flag that because I'm not sure the board was aware that you won't be there for the second part.
Director Siga, please go ahead. You're muted.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got brain fog today. Yeah, I'm glad that you did let me know, because the only question I had about the financials was related to the hospital ones. And just with ACCS, another board that I'm on, there is a significant amount of difficulty with managing the financials when the funding stream that is promised doesn't come in on time. And I'm just wondering if that seems to be happening with the hospital board as well.
Carrie, please go ahead.
Thank you. So our funding for the hospital district actually comes from the municipalities and from the rural taxation, which comes through the province, through the surveyor of taxes. So we do not have any collectability concerns at this time.
Thank you. That really helps.
Councilor Patola, did you have a question? Okay. I kind of saw you go like that. I didn't know if you were stretching or had a question. Any other questions or comments from the board members? Seeing none, I just want to thank you very much for coming here today and doing the presentation.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Marcy DeWitt, coordinator from the Alberni Clayoquot Health Network, and she's going to be presenting a summary of the activities for the 2023-2024 year. Always nice to have you here, Marcy. How are you?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here this afternoon. I know many of you have received my presentations. The ACRD board was last on my calendar for presentations, so I'm happy to get to connect with the rest of you that haven't seen the presentation yet. I'm going to share my screen here and walk you through what we have been up to. As many of you know, we do aim to do a presentation annually to each one of the municipalities, and as many of the leadership groups in the region as we can get out to every year. Last year we were a little bit too busy with all of our other work, so we've missed a year. So I'm excited to let you know what we've been up to in that time. So I am the coordinator for the Alberni Clayoquot Health Network. Today I'm zooming in to you from the territories of the Yuklu Flats here at home. And just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the ACHN work in the past 2 years. So as many of you know, the history of the ACHN, we've been a network and been working closely under the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District since about 2011, 2012. We did a lot of work to initiate the process, make sure that we were in tune with community and very representative of that. And in 2025 or 2015, we really kind of figured out the way that we wanted to work, what our governance system would look like, and have been working with that over the past decade. So we've been working very closely with other networks in the community, performing community engagement and planning work, and then moving forward into implementation of projects. So our task, as set out by our funding, which is through Island Health and held graciously, thank you, with the ACRD, is to look at the social determinants of health. So those pieces that impact our health that are outside of the direct health services, and that are very closely linked to local governments and local community work. So really trying to be that interplay between our health system and our building healthy communities in the region. So looking at the social determinants of health as well as the structural determinants of health to build forward, identify shared priorities, and bring our partners to the table. We've done this through our governance structure. A quick look here shows the network that we work with. So we have a variety of different social and health networks that we link together, try to share ideas with, and also bring to our own table of partners to help with planning. We reach out to the community, to the residents of the ACRD through our shared networks, through community engagement, as well as through our projects targeting specific areas. So most recently, that's been through accessibility, transportation, as well as through youth planning and engagement. And then in the past, we've also done a lot of community engagement around poverty reduction and other shared priorities that have been identified throughout our decade of work. We have moved forward implementation and action planning through our action tables. Many of those we have initiated ourselves and or supported those that are already working and moving forward in their priorities. And we have this wonderful table of partners that guides our work, makes sure that we're fiscally responsible, provides recommendations to the board for both our budget as well as the contracts held related to the Alberni Clayoquot Health Network, and really assists us in getting information into community and back from community. So as you can see here, our 2025 Table of Partners representation is quite wide-ranging from, we actually have a business, Ridgeview Health and Performance, that has now joined, rural and remote divisions of family practice, many of our local leadership tables, as well as nonprofits in the region. So in the past few years, we've seen some great progress on the implementation of projects in the region. We've had the ability to target and build awareness of many of the programs which create health in communities to address the social determinants of health. And I just wanted to speak to you about the progress that we've seen, especially around poverty reduction and network developments in the past 2 years. Having that ability to bring partners together has really increased our ability to resource those priority areas, leveraging funds and just kind of overall support for project implementation. So as I mentioned, network development has been one of the key focuses that we've worked on since 2015, ensuring that we have a safe and welcoming table that meets once a month, just to assist in ensuring that our governance is well developed, but also that we have that ability to reach in and share out information into the communities. We've had consistent participation from community leadership and have really benefited from all the relationships that we've built in the last decade. And one of the things that we've really been focusing on in the last little while is ensuring that that model is connecting well with data, community stories, and community need. So really pulling those three together to ensure that we can prioritize and move forward projects that have the greatest benefit. So as I mentioned, poverty reduction has been one of our key areas of action in the past few years. In 2022, I was at the tables presenting the Poverty Reduction Action Plan, which we produced on behalf of the region. And so that identified 4 areas of recommendation as well as target populations. And in 2023 and 2024, we had the privilege of working very closely on a number of different projects that were directly related to this action plan. So we had the ability to leverage funds for planning around a building equity project, which resulted in this building equity toolkit, as well as workshops throughout the region. We worked closely around health equity and access, very specifically with ACRD staff on transit solutions in the West Coast communities, and also had the ability to leverage a good amount of funds to work on youth capacity building in the region. So as you know, transportation and access to services has been a big part of the work that we've been doing in the past to look at health equity and how folks can connect and have access to education, healthy food, employment, and housing throughout the region. So outside of our work with the West Coast Transit, advocating and assisting in connecting community stakeholders, we also saw a lot of progress on ensuring that non-emergency medical transportation was present in our rural and remote communities, as well as in the Alberni Valley, when Wheels for Wellness contract was kind of taken out of commission. So we worked hard with Island Health to ensure that those services were still available. Certainly a work in progress still, but those services are again present in all of our communities and much more stable in our rural and remote communities at this point. We are participating on the ACRD Transportation Committee as well. And we'll be just kind of working with community partners to look now more at intercommunity transportation as well. So just kind of gathering up these new thoughts now that BC Transit has successfully taken on that, taken on the service on the West Coast communities. I mentioned the youth capacity building that we had the opportunity to coordinate as a result of our poverty reduction action plan. We attracted the attention of a fund through the Tamarack Institute, which enabled us to secure over $700,000 for 2 years of youth capacity building activities. With that, we were able to hire a team of youth facilitators. We ensured that we had representation, so 3 youth facilitators for each kind of distinct area in our region. So the Alberni Valley, Barclay communities, and West Coast communities. With that team, we were able to reach out to youth and identify priorities from the youth for the youth. And they identified belonging and support, mental health and addictions, and connection to the land. So with those priorities in place, we were able to do quite a lot in the 2.5 years that we had this program running. It was federal funding, so it was complete in March 2024, hence the busy year last year. And we have enabled just like a small amount from the ACHN funding to ensure some of that work continues. So we've been doing ongoing youth programming and some legacy funding around the youth safe spaces that were developed through that project, the leadership tables that were formed with our youth leaders in each one of those areas, and we're able to support the youth facilitator positions on the West Coast and in the Barclay communities, where less kind of youth collaboration funding and positions exist. One of the biggest pieces that we've really seen out of that was working with ADAPS in the Alberni Valley and the shared Foundry shared Foundry application. So now with the Alberni Foundry, there's also West Coast outreach and support, a satellite Foundry system in our rural and remote communities, which was made possible by the collaborations through this Communities Building Youth Futures project. Moving forward, we were successful in doing our 2024 strategic plan, ratifying that last fall, and coming forward with a few high-level priority areas. So continuing with our strong focus on network development, looking at really I guess, getting better with our communications and outreach, ensuring that we had those tools to share data and strategy, building awareness and engaging communities further. And then again, focusing in on poverty reduction with those 4 priority areas that were identified in our action plan. So housing, income supports, access to services, equity, and destigmatization. And on the horizon for this year and coming years, we will be kind of moving forward with our Building Equity Toolkit presentations to local governments, as well as community groups, facilitation and support of the many networks and local health coalitions that we are either participating on and now partnering on to ensure there's good collaboration and communication within the region. And one of the pieces that I really wanted to highlight was looking at the Poverty Reduction Action Plan data updates. So recognizing that in 2022, we did not have access to our current census data, we will be creating little one-pagers on each one of the priority areas to ensure we have good data to plan with and really update some of the benchmarks that we've identified through each one of those recommendation areas. And one of the pieces that we've just formalized is the completion of the Port Alberni and Alberni Valley living wage calculation. So we went to the City of Port Alberni Council and received support in principle to do the living wage calculation for the Alberni Valley. We already have that in the West Coast communities through the Clayoquot Biosphere Trust. And so ensuring that that data is consistent, it's a great piece of information that not only gives us a living wage, but also really highlights some of those areas where we might have the opportunity, both from the health network, but also for local government to advocate further for things like childcare subsidies, transportation for folks that need it. And some of those other pieces that put money back into the pockets of folks, not necessarily putting the focus on small business and local businesses to pay that living wage, but to also look at ways that we can offset those costs in our communities by building good systems. And that's what I have for you today. Happy to answer any questions and looking forward to engaging you further in the coming year.
Thank you very much, Marcy. That was great. My apologies for not being able to be at the last meeting, but I was on holidays and decided to really take a nice holiday and I didn't go to any meetings. So, but I will get caught up. Can you talk about the point in time homeless count that's coming up at the end of the month?
Sure. So that's actually through a separate contract. So that's me as a project manager in the region. But we will be conducting a point in time homelessness count in partnership with the, HSABC, so Homelessness Services Association of BC. This is our 4th provincial point in time homelessness count that we've conducted in partnership with them. And yeah, all of that information gets wrapped up at the end of the count. The HSABC takes that and will produce a report for all the provincial partners by October 2025.
Thank you. I always look forward to that report. It's good information.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions or comments from the board members? Director Siga, then Director Cote.
Thank you. Marcy, I appreciate getting the living wage for our area, but even that has to be put into the perspective of most employers being seasonal that are tourist related. So, I mean, if you're looking at a wage of $27.40 an hour for full-time employment, which I'm assuming this is making the assumption of, we're still not scratching the surface of true living wage on the West Coast or anybody involved in the tourism industry.
Thanks, Veda. And I think that that would be something that we could really delve into as well with the Claycoat Biosphere Trust, just to look at what that seasonality looks like. I think that that's a great point. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Director Cote.
Thank you. Through the chair, thank you, Marcy, for the presentation. Always appreciate updates to the board. And just it's wonderful to see the work. I can actually measure the improvements that have been created by or recorded by this health network. And I continue to lobby with the province to make sure that Island Health provides funding for the health network to continue, because it is such valuable data and information that has been provided, like the transportation study that we did to find out what it costs to go to to get out from a remote area community to a doctor's appointment, or just, you know, understanding that that's creates a healthy environment for people to be able to have transportation. I think that's one of our biggest wins, is that now there's a bus system on the West Coast. It's amazing to see how valuable that is, and know that the health network was a big part in getting that in place. So thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing more in the very near future. Thanks, Marcy.
Thank you, Director Cote. Any other questions or comments? Daniel, please go ahead.
Maybe I'll just amplify Director Cody's voice on that one. I just also want to recognize the tremendous amount of work that goes into these initiatives. I think very often the unfortunate reality is that communities will sometimes wait for an incident to occur before mobilizing and starting to look at you know, the collection of information, the sharing of information, the development of things like youth programs that make such a huge impact on preventing issues in the future. And so just having all that is actually really labor intensive, because it's a lot of dialogue, a lot of data collection, a lot of exploring the what ifs, and then chasing the funds from other sources so that it isn't a direct tax impact on the local people here, which would be equally unpopular, even though very important. And so it's just one of those things that I just want to flag the value of the tremendous work being done here, because if it wasn't being done at this level, it would likely land in one of the local governments to take on, and that would be labor intensive and expensive. And so thank you for taking that on.
Absolutely. Thank you both.
Dr. Sparrow.
Thank you. Keeping on that vein of transportation, if you go back a few slides, you'll find one that there's a bunch of roads there. Some go to Banfield and that. Is there any thought or any way of you putting a bus route to Banfield, or is there a bus route to Banfield that you know of? And are you thinking of expanding the ones going to Fino and Ucluelet?
That I'm aware of, there is no bus route to Banfield, and maybe Bob could jump in there. I think one of the things that we were one of the barriers that we did see was many of the bus routes will only travel on paved roads. So we were able to connect, as well as with the non-emergency medical transportation as well. We were able to connect communities that had paved road access. And then I think, you know, moving forward and being aspirational, we can certainly put that on a board as a potential in the future. But yeah, I think that intercommunity transportation, as I mentioned, is a priority that I've been hearing from other community partners, even from Port Alberni to Parksville, Nanaimo. But at this point, it's also a separate system outside of the BC Transit system. So that would be a big aspirational piece, but certainly something that maybe Eddie would be a better person to ask, but would be something that we can put on the long list of transportation needs.
Yeah, it's something we can always work towards, right? Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I just want to thank you very much, Marcy, for being here today and sharing your year's activities with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mark Hunter, a member of the public, requesting letter of support for electricity project at Great Central Lake Dam. Come on up, Mr. Hunter.
That. Okay. Yeah, thank you for letting me have the opportunity. And since as last year, I did apply for a water license and it was going good, positive, the people that we're dealing with. One thing that happened, I needed to get some information to revamp my little presentation. And front counter came up, they put my information onto Copilot AI. And I thought, I asked my wife, what the heck is that? So anyways, I did a simple test. 5 + 6 = 15. Boom, came back. No, 5 + 6 is 11, of course. But I also had some numbers put together. My thesis, I put it online, and it came back all okay. Asked Mike, he checked it out, was all okay. So I want to say, with science, things change. Like photosynthesis isn't the all to be all anymore. Life goes on. There's catfish with no eyes. There's all kinds of things. So I found this an interesting comment from Chuck Yeager. Many feared the supersonic flight was impossible. And he later stated, I realized the mission had not had to end in a letdown, but in that the barrier wasn't in the sky, it was in the people's knowledge. So things change. I know you're not supposed to say perpetual power, but if the numbers work out, then it is what it is. If AI can agree, then that's fine by me. So what needs to be done is dig a hole, line it with concrete, put in a pump. There's a pump since Mike, last time I talked to you, 5 million gallons per minute. And you divided by 60, you got tons of weight. And anyhow, so put the water wheel in, put the generators in, and you can have free power. And thank you for this.
Thank you, Mark.
Have a good day.
Okay, next on the agenda is correspondence for action, and the first item on the agenda is a request for letter of support from the Alberni District Fall Fair Association for a letter of support for the application of the province of British Columbia's Ministry of Tourism Destination Events Program grant. Any questions, or would somebody like to make the motion? Director Cote?
I'd love to make this motion. I just want to point out that the Fall Fair is celebrating 80 years this year. That's a long time. That's older than me. I'd move that the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors forward a letter to the Alberni District Fall Fair Association supporting their application to the province of British Columbia's Ministry of Tourism new destination event program grant.
Moved by Director Cote, second by Director Patola. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next is another request for letter of support from the Alberni Valley Hospice Society. They're requesting a letter of support for the application to the provincial gaming grant, stating their services extend beyond the limits of the city of Port Alberni and include the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District. Is there any questions or comments, or would someone like to make the motion? Director Siga, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I have a question about this one, simply because it says that they extend to the ACRD, but in their statement they say Alberni Valley. So my understanding is that this would not extend to the West Coast, and that the West Coast grief counseling is a separate. Yeah, I can see that Tom has his hand up. Maybe I'll just let him answer. Thank you.
Director Steer?
Yeah, thanks, Director Siga. In the report, it talks about mostly the electoral areas and extending out a little bit, but our services are through the Hospice Society that's centered on Tarney, and the work that's being done out here on the West Coast would be a separate service area delivery.
Director Siga?
Thank you. I just, through the chair, like to ask Tom whether this would conflict with the West Coast program getting funding at all.
I can't speak to that directly. It was a concern of mine. It was a question I had in terms about the support for the grant, although I don't think so. But I did want to, I don't know if it'd be possible to check in with Tarney to see if there'd be any implications. But what they're looking for is through a gaming grant. So I don't think it would have any interference with the work that's being done out here on the West Coast. And I see Susan has her hand up. She might have some more information. But as far as I know, this separate gaming grant wouldn't impact the work here on the West Coast.
Thank you, Director Roth.
Yeah, I know a little bit about BC Gaming, and it might. So I think we should be specific in the motion and just say Beaver Creek, Cherry Creek, Beaufort, Sprout Lake, rather than allowing it to think it covers the whole of the ACRD. Do you want me to make that motion?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'll move that the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors provide a letter to the Alberni Valley Hospice Society confirming that their services extend to residents within the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District, specifically including residents in Beaver Creek, Beaufort, Sprout Lake, and Cherry Creek electoral areas. I don't know about First Nations, if we should include that, but yes, probably. And while supporting their grant application to the province of British Columbia's gaming grant program.
Director Steer, then Director Beckett. Are you seconding that, Director Steer?
No, I think Bob is going to bring up. I didn't hear Bamfield, and I don't know if that was an omission or I think Susan's. So if we could maybe, and I think that Bob, maybe that's what you're going to look to include Bamfield in that motion.
Okay, we'll just make that amendment if you're agreeable to that, Director Roth. Perfect, thank you. And are you seconding that motion, Director Steer? Thank you. And Director Sparrow?
My comment was, where's Banfield in this conversation? Because it was missed. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are on the ball today. Did you have another comment, Director Roth? You still have your hand up.
Yeah, it says Alberni Valley, so sometimes that doesn't mean Bamfield. I'm just giving excuses.
Thanks. Any other questions or comments? Director Sparrow?
I know I'm being nitpicker, but he shouldn't say Port Alberni either. She just said the electoral areas. We're extending it out. And the motion has been changed. Make sure we're including everybody we want to include and not missing out on somebody we shouldn't include. That's all.
If you're okay, Director Roth, with a bit of wordsmithing on behalf of staff, I think what we'll do is say for the Alberni Valley, including, then name Beaver Creek, Beaufort, Sprout Lake, Cherry Creek, and Bamfield. And that way we really capture the whole image, if you're okay with that wordsmithing.
Perfect, thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments, all in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next is a request for letter of support from the Huu-ay-aht First Nations requesting a letter of support for the application to the Government of Canada's Active Transportation Grant to build a new pedestrian bridge, enhanced trails, and extra public washrooms at the new ball field in Campground at Ananakalea. Director Cote.
Thank you. I'm in favor of this, but I have to ask the question, do they have to a requirement of them to apply for this grant? Would it be that they have to have a transportation study, active transportation study? Thank you.
If it is, then they would have one, they would have to have one on hand that's pertinent to the work that they might have done around all their framework planning. So they've just completed some framework planning for community planning, economic development. So I don't know if they have that, but if it is a requirement, it wouldn't, our support doesn't hinder that. If they don't qualify, then that would be something the province ends up telling them. But typically you have to have that plan in hand. Yeah.
Director Beckham.
Thank you. I can't answer that question, but I am prepared to make that motion that the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors provide a letter of support to the Huu-ay-aht First Nations for their application to the Government of Canada's Active Transportation Grant.
Moved by Director Beckett, seconded by Director Coots. Director Cote.
Thank you. Is this also a grant that Sprout Lake is applying for? Thank you.
Daniel.
We have applied for active transportation grants in the past. I don't know that we actually have an active one right now. If we do, we'll get back to you on that one. But my understanding as well is that our support of a separate application from a treaty nation wouldn't undermine our ability. Usually we can have, as a regional district, we can have multiple applications based on the size and the various jurisdictions.
Like I said, I do support this. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I'll call for the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next is correspondence for information. We have a letter from the Vancouver Island Regional Library in response to Director Broka's verbal report at the February 26th ACRD Board of Directors meeting. We have a letter from the Village of Dajing regarding cannabis taxation sharing in municipal-owned cannabis retail stores. We have a report from the West Coast Aquatic, which is the 2025 SOMAS Estuary Action Plan. And that was really interesting, by the way. I don't know if everybody read it, but it's very interesting. And information from the Legislative Assembly of British Columbia regarding provincial budget 2026 consultation. Does anybody want to pull anything out for comments? Director Boyko.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just want to clarify a couple of things. When I was at the meeting, it was told to us that potentially funds in the accounts were on paper but didn't actually exist. So my comment was the taxpayers were out millions of dollars. But I'm glad to hear that we have some clarification that the funds were in a different spot. But basically, due to overspending and under budgeting, additional taxpayer funds are going to be required from last year, this year, and the future years to build out the reserves. That's one of the reasons we're seeing large tax requisition increases of 15.3% last year and 7% this year to the ACRD from the library. And hopefully we'll get the reserves back up to where they are. I think that's all the questions I want to say about that. But yes, I've requested to be on the audit committee and I have attended a meeting and I'm a non-voting member, but at least we can have a chat and see what's going on there. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that clarification, Director Boyko. Director Sika?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I just wanted to speak to the West Coast Aquatic. What really hit me from the maps and the photos is that a large portion of the lands that are being discussed are not in any way affiliated with local government ability to plan around. And this is really becoming an issue with, for example, developments on former forestry lands. And I think it's something that we should be taking note of.
Good comment. Director Cote?
Thank you. This report is wonderful. I've been on West Coast Aquatic for as long as I've been on the Regional District Board, affiliated some way. Recently, I'm on, it's identified the Barkley Salmon Working Group and the Somas Fish Flow Group. They're all working, basically doing the same kind of work on water management, water quality for fisheries, the fish, recently the fish flow, Somas Fish Flow Committee, which I'm on, is looking at water quality that includes potable water. So identifying that also. I've been part of all of the background reports that have been included with this. And I see now that it doesn't identify those groups specifically that the data has come from, which I've been a part of. So it sounds like they've created a new subcommittee, I guess. So I just want to make sure that the board understands that I've been on this committee in one aspect or another for as long as I've been on this board. So I want to explain that I actually have been putting in for these meetings. I'm not sure, I've never checked if I've ever paid for anything, but I have been putting in because it's bringing forward information from those other all of those other committees that I've been a part of. So I don't know if we need to create another committee for me to be identified at the board level, or if it's just that I'm participating as one of those other group member people. Anyways, I just wanted to bring that point forward. Thank you. And this is a great report. Mosaic does sit at the table. All of these different partners are there, bringing forward very connected focus on managing the estuary. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Cote. And we do appreciate all your hard work and dedication to this project. Any other questions or comments about the correspondence? Would someone like to make a motion that the Board of Directors receive items A through D for information? Moved by Director Coots. Second by Director Sika. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next is request for decision, Island Rail Corridor Consulting Service Contract Amendment, CAO. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So this is a request to advance with some work that our transportation committee had asked that we advance with, not as the emergency route, but as a viable alternative should the need arise. And a few months later, our rail committee echoed the same intent that it would be really useful to actually have the detailed assessment of the trestle so that we can understand how it is or what investment would be required in order to get minimum use of a 10-ton or up to 10 tons worth of weight for transportation for emergency purposes should the highway be closed again. And again, I'll re-echo that everyone was very clear. They do not want to say that this is the alternative. We're looking at an alternative highway route, not a rail route. However, the detailed information required here is what we're looking for. And in the absence of doing this assessment, we can't do it. The good news is that when we originally went to contract, our identified budget was 400,000, and when HDR replied, they replied with a $322,000 contract, but they included the assessment of the trestle as an add-on, and so they have re-examined that work and the details that we've identified that we wanted, and they're pretty close to their original assessment. So we'd still be operating within the committed budget that we put in, but in order to advance, that's outside of my signing authority, and I would need the board to approve advancing with this contract work, thus the request.
Thank you, Daniel. Any questions or comments from the board? Director Sparrow.
Thank you. When you say the bridge, you're implying the one across Cameron Lake and not the ones in the city? Wasn't that part of the scope?
That's correct. So it's up by Cameron Lake, and it is, that is ultimately the biggest connection point that we are looking at.
Any other questions or comments? Would anyone like to make this motion? Director Cote.
Thank you. I'm very happy to see this going forward. I move that the Alberni Clayoquot Regional Board of Directors approve amending the Island Rail Corridor Consulting Service contract with HDR Inc. to include track and bridge condition assessment of Port Alberni subdivisions in the amount of $61,800, excluding GST, and authorize the CIO to negotiate and execute the contract amendment on behalf of the regional district.
Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Beckett. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Request for decision, Alberni Clayoquot Regional District financial statements. Terry, did you have any comments?
Thank you. So presented for you today are the ACRD financial statements, a little bit different than the budget. So the budget's very service-based and on kind of a cash basis, where these financial statements are more organizationally focused and have items such as amortization and surplus being treated differently. So they have been completed. There was an amended version sent out yesterday. There was just some rounding issues in the notes that we sorted out. So looking for approval and happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Questions or comments for Terry regarding the financial statements? Director Boyko, please go ahead.
Thank you, Terry. So I see cash surplus of basically $20 million plus or minus. Is that correct? In cash and cash equivalents?
Yes.
So here's a question I would pose, and we don't need to answer it today, but since we're paying more in principal than we are in interest on the airport debt, and we have 20 plus years left, if we take that, we could potentially save $3 million in interest. My math is off by a little bit, but I think it's not too bad. Is that something that we could entertain or not at all? Thank you.
No, we're unable to do that. So in a regional district model, we are not allowed to move cash from service or like budget from service to service. So the airport does not have $20 million of cash. So there's that. You have to keep like the AV airport funding in the AV airport and the AV landfill funding in the AV landfill. And a lot of that cash and cash equivalents is restricted by the reserve funds that they are associated with. The other thing is with the Municipal Finance Authority, you are actually locked in to your debenture. There is a few opportunities for payout. So I think that the airport is a 30-year. So the first 10 years are locked in. And then I believe that MFA will be locking in them in 5-year increments after that point. But there has been times where they've done another 10-year when you're doing a 30-year. So I'm not exactly sure what their plan is. I don't know if they would know at this point. But the only option is for us to fully pay out that money at that point. And because we are not able to transfer it from service to service, we would actually have to have that full amount of funding available for the payout of that debt. So is there a world where, say, we get down to the last 5 or 10 years and we have enough money in the reserve fund for the AVRA to pay off the debt? Yeah, we could definitely look at that when we get there, but I think we are too far out to be having that conversation. And because of those restrictions of not being able to move it between services.
Thank you for the clarification.
Held reply. Did you have another question, Director Boyko?
No, I think that's well laid out. When you look at it from a standpoint of an overall thing, you say, hey, I got money here and I got a debt here. I can pay it off just like a mortgage, close all the interest. Because currently we're paying $185,000 in interest and only $120,000 of principal. So if you take that over time, we could save the taxpayers a ton of money. But if we're not allowed to move some money around, there could be some challenges to doing that. So it's good to know that for future. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments regarding the financial statements? See none, would anyone like to make the motion? Director Roth.
Thank you. I'll move that the ACRD Board of Directors approve the 2024 audited financial statements for the ACRD as presented.
Moved by Director Roth, second by Director Coots. Any final questions or comments? Oh, sorry, should be as amended because the financial statements were amended and they were sent out. Thank you for pointing that out, Cynthia. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next, request for decision, grant funding application with UBCM 2025 program, Next Generation 911. Please go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, good afternoon. This application reflects a recent change to activities eligible for funding. The original allocation-based grant has been fully committed to our Next Gen 911 GIS project. And the 2025 application-based funding is available for computer-aided dispatch in trucks in our fire apparatus. And this reflects a request for 10 units for our volunteer fire departments. As stated in the RFD, we're not sure yet whether the Cherry Creek will be eligible for this funding and may end up being removed at some point if that becomes negative. Each of the other municipalities within the region was notified of this availability, and it was up to them to apply on their own. So this reflects for our volunteer departments. Any questions? I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Charlie. Any questions or comments? Director Sparrow.
Thank you. I was looking at the number of tablets versus the amount of fire trucks. This is obviously in the first line fire trucks. Because I think Beaver Creek's got 4, Sport Lake's got more than that. Or just going to be is in the pumper trucks.
This is updating a few and adding to additional trucks. So there was 3 units specified for Beaver Creek, 3 for Sprout Lake, 2 each for Bamfield and Cherry Creek.
And if Cherry Creek cannot get the tablets, we got to move them over to Beaver Creek and Sport Lake and utilize them any way we can, or we got to lower the number?
No, we just removed them from the funding request.
Okay, so the number would come down then. Okay,
correct.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Would anyone like to make the motion? Director Sparrow, please go ahead.
I'll make the motion that the Alberni Clay Park Regional District Board of Directors support the grant funding application to UBCM for the application-based funding program Next Generation 911 for up to $75,000 to purchase equipment for the region's volunteer fire departments.
Moved by Director Sparrow, second by Director Cote. Any final questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is planning matters for electoral area directors only. First is TUP 24009 One Stop Hook Bay, Alberni Inlet, Bamfield. Alex, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Temporary use permit TUP 24009 and the associated bylaw P1520 relate to a proposed small-scale sawmill and lumber processing use on a portion of Crown land that's licensed to the applicants at Hook Bay along the Alberni Inlet. The board did receive the public hearing report and gave the bylaw second and third readings at the March 12th meeting. There were no comments received from the public at the time, and the agency referral responses that were received recommended support for this application. So all conditions of approval appear to have been satisfied, and staff recommend that the board adopt the bylaw. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Alex. Director Beckett, please go ahead.
Thank you to Alex and staff for your excellent work on this. I'd like to make the motion that the bylaw P1520 Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot temporary use permit bylaw be adopted.
By Director Beckett, second by Director Roth. Any final questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next is RE 24012 Putty and Chorney, 6320 and 6326 Beaver Creek Road, rezoning application, report, and bylaw. Please go ahead, Alex.
Thank you very much. This is a rezoning application for a 0.8 hectare property in the Beaver Creek area. The property owners intend to rezone to the RA3 district to facilitate a 2-lot subdivision. The zoning amendment is consistent with the policies of the Beaver Creek OCP, and following the public input process, the board gave 3 readings to the bylaw at the March 26th meeting. The applicants have now satisfied all the conditions of approval that were applied by the board, including the confirmation of sewage disposal capacity and complying with any technical referral agency requirements. So this time staff recommend the board adopt bylaw P1519. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Director Roth, would you like to read the motion?
Sure. I move that bylaw P1519 Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot Zoning Atlas Amendment bylaw be adopted.
Moved by Director Roth, seconded by Director Sparrow. Any final questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Oh, Director Segal, were you pre-voting or did you have a question?
I did have a question. I just, when I'm looking at these subdivisions and I see water on these properties, it always bothers me because I really don't think there's good oversight of the septic systems. And it always worries me, and that comes from personal experience here in Millstream. So maybe if I could just, before I vote on this, I would just like a little bit of confirmation from Alex that the water setbacks and stuff are being considered.
Please go ahead, Alex.
Sure, thank you. So the property in Beaver Creek does not have a water course that that is nearby, but I will highlight the septic requirements. So Island Health is the approving authority for septic, and they were referred on the rezoning application, and they provided comments in support of proceeding with the rezoning. If this moves ahead to a subdivision application, that would go to the Ministry of Transportation, who would also refer that application to Island Health, and they'd have another chance to review it and make sure that their sewerage system regulations have been complied with. One of the aspects that the regional district will typically ask for at the rezoning stage is confirmation from a registered on-site wastewater practitioner that the soil conditions at the site are capable of accommodating sewage disposal at that density. And in this case, the applicants did submit a report from a septic professional that confirmed that the 2-lot subdivision would be suitable for that area. So while the oversight isn't necessarily with the regional district, there are certainly many touch points that we have with Island Health throughout the process to make sure that the septic is being dealt with safely.
Thank you. That helps.
Director Roth?
I just wanted to add a little bit to that, and that the septic systems now, they're engineered. They're really good, a lot better than they were years ago, and sometimes they're better than community water systems, or sorry, community sewer systems. So there's been a lot of improvements in the technology, and it's not so bad anymore. I don't know about where you live, but I know it's certainly improved in Beaver Creek. Thanks.
Thank you. Any final questions or comments? Okay, now I'll call for the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is RF 24015 Bennett, 6088 Cottam Road, rezoning application report and bylaw. Alex, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. This rezoning application is for a 1.25 hectare property in the Cherry Creek area. The property owners intend to rezone to RA3 district to facilitate a 4-lot subdivision with the 0.24 hectare minimum. The conceptual subdivision layout that they have provides for a lot with the existing home and 2 vacant lots that would be accessed off the Cottam Road side and a vacant parcel on the west side that would be accessed off Walmer Road. The rezoning is consistent with the policies and objectives of the Cherry Creek OCP to provide for additional housing in the community. As the rezoning complies with the OCP, a public hearing is not held in this case. And the neighbor notification process provides the opportunity for public input. 2 letters have been received. These are the late items that are on the agenda for you. These letters express general opposition to the rezoning. Concerns raised include additional traffic on Cottam Road, septic systems potentially impacting drainage, impact on the community water supply, and just a general concern for increased density. A couple factors I want to highlight. The applicants have engaged a registered on-site wastewater practitioner in this case as well, who has assessed the site in detail, and they conclude that there are suitable soil conditions and areas for both the primary and the reserve field area if it were to be subdivided. And that would comply with the island health regulations. The impacts on the road network and access in the area would be regulated by the Ministry of Transportation and Transit as the approving authority for subdivision. So again, if this proceeds to the subdivision application stage, the ministry will have another chance to look at it. And the Ministry of Transportation was included on the referral responses, and they noted that they had no concerns at this stage. So at this point, given the support for additional housing in the Cherry Creek OCP that fits within the general character of residential properties in the area, and with the lots immediately to the west, which are similar size, and the technical aspects of subdivision that would be regulated by the province. At this point, staff recommend that the board proceed with the rezoning application, give 3 readings to the bylaw. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Director Siga.
My apologies through the chair to Alex. It was actually this application that I saw the water in, and you've already addressed my concerns with that. But I did have a question about when these private lands are subdivided, is there any funding that's going towards the infrastructure such as roadways, sidewalks, lighting, that kind of thing? Is there any set aside from the development fees?
Through the chair, I think that's a great question. So the sidewalks and the road networks are all managed by the Ministry of Transportation. So there is no development cost charge that the ACRD would have, like a municipality would have for those similar things. But we would rely on the Ministry of Transportation to require those improvements, and we have seen that in the past where there are road improvements that need to be made. The province will make that a condition of subdivision. This property is within the Cherry Creek Waterworks District. So to connect to the Cherry Creek the water system, they do have a development cost charge and a connection cost requirement that would need to be met.
Thank you very much. And I think that's how Ucluelet got our bicycle path.
Director Cote.
Thank you. I'm just looking at the plans on page 139, and it looks like the back, if this lot was subdivided, one of the properties could be coming in from Walmer Road and one from Cottam. So I don't really see that there's an issue with extra traffic on that road. Thank you.
Alex shook his head yes. Any other questions or comments? Dr. Sparrow.
What I'd like to do is defer this for a month so the person could get some answers back to the area. I know the area well. I used to live across the road, by the way, just so you know. And there are a few concerns in that area because across the road is AOR. and AR land, and then they got put four houses right across the road from on the uphill side, so the water's gonna come across, so. I'd like to take the time if we could to defer it for a month and get the owner to just alleviate some of the concerns they have before they go through, because as this starts to develop, this side of the road could actually become all subdivisions. And houses on the other side of the road being ALR can't do a thing, and it's all downstream, so. Maybe we could wait a month, just ask the owner to come back with some of these questions be answered, and then we can get a better idea of what's going on for the future. If that's acceptable to the board. I'll make that motion.
Is that doable, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. And if the board was entertaining a motion like that, I think deferring a decision on the bylaw and directing staff to work with the applicants to address some of the technical aspects of subdivision that have been raised. I think that'd be appropriate.
Would you like to make that motion, Director Sparrow?
I would like to make a motion to defer for a month until the owners can come back with some of the concerns we have. Thank you.
Would anybody like to move by Director Sparrow, second by Director Siga? Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next is reports, staff reports. First on the agenda is CONAC's Climate Preparedness Hub Summary. Alex, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be brief here. This is an information report just to highlight the staff involvement in the Climate Preparedness Hub over the past number of months, which provided tools and resources for small and rural communities to prepare for the next steps in regional climate adaptation. One of the resources that is included in the agenda that came out of this process is the community-specific climate projections that were prepared for the Alberni Valley and the West Coast communities, and that's through the connection with the Pacific Climate Impacts Consortium. Those are included in there for your information. And then as a bit of background on where we're at with community climate planning, staff are engaged with the Clackamas Biosphere Trust to work together on grant opportunities and partnership opportunities to start working on a region-wide climate adaptation planning in 2026. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Alex regarding this report? Dr. Cote.
Thank you. I love data, I have to say. Great to have all of this information. Love to share it with the SOMAS fish flow group, because we're always looking at data. And it talks about precipitation and temperatures and how we could definitely see how that could affect fisheries and our potable water as well. And our dams. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Would anyone like to motion that the Board of Directors receives the staff report for information? Moved by Director Cote, second by Director Sparrow. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next is area reports. First is the Victoria Area A, Banfield, Director Beckett.
Madam Chair, two things. Bob Baden, who tragically passed away last year in the floodwaters, who was my alternate director in my first term, is having a celebration of life on Sunday, April the 20th in Banfield. And I'm looking forward to being there and showing my respects for everything he did for the community, including acting as my alternate director. And last but not least, Louis Druel, who was the editor of the New Banfielder. I don't know why it was called New, because it's been around for many, many years, and something that I look forward to picking up before it became an electronic version. He's going to retire from doing that, and I'm hoping someone in the community picks up doing that monthly newsletter, because it was well received and very much appreciated. And that's my report for Banfield, salmon capital of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Beckett. On behalf of the board, please accept our condolences to you and to the community. Next is Electoral Area B, Beaufort, Director Boyko. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. we had a very successful town hall recently when we had staff there, and everybody's out spring planting. And one of the main concerns is with the bomb cyclone we had back in November, there is a lot of fuel in the forest. So specifically, there is trees down, and in a couple of years, it might prove a problem for wildfire. So it affects multiple areas, but Beaufort did get hit quite hard. So it's something to put in the back of people's mind that if we are looking for firewood or clean up the forest, there's a lot of debris that in 3-4 years when it dries out is going to be more of a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Electoral Area C, Long Beach, Director Siga.
Thank you very much. I just want to express my appreciation to the staff for working with us so closely on our planning and our upcoming Millstream meeting. And other than that, nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Electoral Area D, Sprout Lake, Director Cote.
Thank you. Just reporting out that the Sprout Lake Community Association had their AGM on March 31st. Over 100 people attended, and a very successful meeting. Big thank you to the ACRD for your support with their meeting. We had Randy Thoen talk about Fire Smart, so maybe Beaufort would like to extend that invitation to Randy to come and talk about fire smarting people's properties. We also had Karen Freely talk about emergency management. Also Kathy, forget Kathy's last name, was also there from emergency planning. Yeah, it was a great meeting. And I think that's about all. Spring is here, and looking forward to, water sports.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Electoral Area E, Beaver Creek, Director Roth.
Thank you. Recently, we had an issue with a dangerous dog in our area. The dog killed 2 much-loved goats. It was very sad. I took a tour of the property, and the goats were very well cared for and contained, so this wasn't expected to happen. The ACRD helped out, but in the end, I believe, or from what I understand, the dog owner shot and killed the dog himself on his property or something like that. But I just wanted to mention it. It was a very sad situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Electoral Area F, Cherry Creek, Director Sparrow.
Thank you for that. A few things about Cherry Creek. I noticed that the corner of Maybell and the Alberni Highway, there's always been a knoll there that's been traffic inhibited to quite turning left off of Maybell. And people brought that to my attention. I brought it up to the Ministry of Transport. And if you go by today, the knoll's been knocked back and they've hydro-seeded the area. So congratulations for that, for doing what they, for listening. It's kind of neat. I also went to the Cherry Creek Water Board meeting, and Director Boyko was there on Zoom. We listened to what they had to say. They are going to have their AGM on June 4th, about 6 p.m. is tentative date right now, and a referendum they said is going to happen on the 14th of June, and they're going toward a referendum question. Hopefully it'll be a simple yes/no question and not a double negative question like they have in other areas. And I'll be working with them so they can do it. Hopefully maybe we can get something like Zoom together and we can record it so it can be played back at other times. But I'll be working with them and see what they can do there. So I have it this time. Thank you.
Thank you. City of Port Alberni, Director Patola.
Well, thank you. I'm sure I would refer back to you, Director Haggard.
I was just going to report, we had a big announcement yesterday. The City of Port Alberni has completed its signing of agreement for sale with the selected developer of Matthews West to develop the Somas Lands property. So that's very exciting news. Hopefully we'll start public consultation soon and have some drawings that we can show people and start moving forward on this big project, but it is going to be a multi-year project, but we're very excited. Did you have anything to add to that?
No, thank you. This might be something that people think is old news, but it's not, in that the processes moving forward, and the signing of the agreement is a instrumental and significant step in that process.
Thank you. District of Tofino, Director Steer.
Hi, I just got moved. The cat tends to get in the way. Just quickly, Tofino, at our last council meeting, Tofino voted to opt out of Bill 35, the principal residency requirement, which we already had. And the other interesting thing, and it relates to Vancouver Island Regional Library, and the district have signed a memorandum of understanding we have a new library that will be built in Tofino, and we're looking at providing through the district and Tofino Housing Corporation, incorporating housing with that project as well. Those are on 2 municipal lots, 385 and 391 Main Street. So that was pretty exciting. And looking forward to myself and Mayor Law will be attending AVICC this weekend. So look forward to seeing hopefully some of you guys there.
Thank you. District of Ucluelet, Director McEwen.
Thank you. Myself and my counselors will also be attending AVICC this weekend, leaving tomorrow actually. And so we'll see you there, Director Steer. And we have a by-election coming up June 28th. We lost one of our counselors. He's moved to Victoria. And so Councillor Kennington's seat is vacant at the moment. And so the by-election will hopefully fill that spot. That's it for me.
Thank you. Huu-ay-aht First Nations, Director Jack is not with us today, so no report. Tokart Nation, Director Johnson.
Afternoon. So Tokwat recently had our People's Assembly, and our annual budget and our strategic plan are now approved and in operation. We'll be having a in-person 2-day one in June, so that we have something to plan for now. And I was going to say something else. Oh, our lodge, Cayuse 10-unit lodge is now open as well, so we can have our citizens come visit our territory. So that's all exciting. Thanks.
Thank you. Uchuckalset Tribe Government, Director Coots.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hochakalsit 2 has just recently finished up our People's Assembly. We had that at the end of March. And so our budget and audit has been approved. The people are looking forward to it. We are very much looking forward to it. We have a lot of, we're expanding a lot of the services that we're giving to the people and just kind of trying to keep in line with the consistently rising costs of living and things like that. So we are excited, looking forward, another clean audit, business as usual. And yeah, just happy all around. Looking forward to the nice change in the weather. Bucko.
Thank you. Ucluelet Government, Director Mistangelo, please go ahead.
Couple changes, excuse me, happened in our government, and we'll be looking at, we're going to be expanding the education department here soon, and I believe the start date is going to be, well, our director for education is going to be in community and starting work on around May 1st, and we are currently going to be pursuing new director for health. We did change the Structure and Administration Act and adopted it as a new act, and that is a big movement in our government. And some of the focuses right now are on the Government Personnel Act that has all of the title changes. So as I say director now, we've been using that language for a while, but officially we changed our laws and our acts to give a number of changes to all of our managers and now have director roles, which is great. And we are also moving towards changes in our application, in our processes for zoning and economic development. So we hope to expand the horizons in that area, and we're going to be working on a new process from here on out. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no other reports, could I have a motion that the Board of Directors receive the area reports? Moved by Director Cote, or did you have a comment?
I just wanted to add another report, actually.
Please go ahead.
Just an update on AVICC. Just a reminder that the convention is this weekend, April 11th to the 13th in Nanaimo. And let directors know that the main sessions will be videoed and available on the AVICC website. And also elections are online for our convention executive. And whether you're in person at the convention, also participants not attending the convention may also vote for the executive. So there is that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Can I get you to make the motion that we receive the area reports as well?
So moved.
Thank you. Moved by Director Cote, second by Director Coots. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. No unfinished business, no late business. Next, we have question period. Is there any questions or comments online, Cynthia?
There are no questions received in Zoom and none received in the email.
Thank you so much. Could I get a motion to recess the regular Board of Directors meeting in order to conduct the Regional Hospital District meeting? Moved by Director Coots, seconded by Director Sparrow. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so I would like to call the Hospital District Board of Directors meeting to order. Recognition of territories. I would like to acknowledge that we are conducting this meeting on the unceded traditional territories of the Shuswap and Wachusett First Nations, and we are grateful for the opportunity to do so. We also have directors calling in from other territories, and I would also like to acknowledge those nations and express our gratitude and our respect. Notice to attendees that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed to YouTube on the Regional District website. If you have any questions or comments, please send them to responses@acrd.bc.ca. We have an agenda in front of us. Is there any additions from directors? Is there any additions from the corporate officer?
No additions.
Thank you. Is there any declarations or conflict of interest? Seeing none, we'll go to the adoption of minutes. We have the Board of Directors meeting from March 12th, 2025. Is there any errors or omissions? Oh, no, I didn't. I missed a step. Nobody caught me on that. Thank you, Cynthia. We need a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Moved by Director Sparrow, seconded by Director Coots. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. I told Cynthia at the beginning to kick me if I miss anything. Thank you for not kicking me. Okay, so then adoption of minutes. Is there any errors or omission on the Board of Directors meeting dated March the 12th, 2025? Seeing none, could I have a motion that the minutes of the Alberni-Claycott Regional Hospital District Board of Directors meeting held on March 12th, 2025 be adopted? Moved by Director Cote, second by Director Sparrow. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. No petitions, no correspondence for action, no correspondence for information. We have a request for decision. We have the Alberni-Claycott Regional Hospital District 2024 financial statements. Did you have any comments, Terry?
Thank you. Yes, these are fairly simple statements as we don't own any tangible capital assets. They're all owned by Island Health. I will note that one item mentioned in the audit report, or not the audit report, but the audit finding report. It was not that we did not realize we were getting interest on those accounts. We just did not understand when we were to recognize that, as it is a new fund that we've invested in this year. And just looking for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Any questions or comments? Director Steer, and then Director Siga.
I was just gonna make the motion, but if Director Siga has a question, I'll hold off.
Go ahead, Director Steer.
Right, that the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional Hospital District Board of Directors approved the 2024 audit of financial statements for the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional Hospital District as presented.
Moved by Director Steer, second by Director Siga. Any final questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Now we have reports. Banfield Health Center, Director Beckett.
No report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Alberni-Clayoquot Continuing Care Society, Director Siga.
Thank you. The AGM was held on March 25th, and there is an upcoming volunteer appreciation for the many volunteers for the society. Thank you.
Thank you. West Coast Native Healthcare Society, Director Cote.
No report.
Thank you. Tofino General Hospital, Director Steer.
No report, but I did meet with the Tofino Hospital Foundation, and they just wanted an update on all things regional hospital district. So I gave a presentation to the board there and just explained the role of the regional hospital board and gave an update as to the latest information we had on the Tofino Hospital and where we're at with the concept plan before government. And that went over very well. There's a few questions, of course, very direct questions that I was not able to answer about when we're going to start building a hospital. But other than that, it went super well. And I did have just a quick question, and I maybe just around the back in December when we had our regional hospital district strategic planning, was there going to be a report associated with that? And if there was, maybe there wasn't, I just don't know, but maybe just a question if there was a report, and if there is, if I could get it forwarded to me, that would be wonderful.
Thank you. We got minutes sent to us, did we not?
Yep, we did receive the report in February, but with the flurry of budget discussions that was going on, it's understandable that it was missed. We can forward that through, and if I can answer, I think the one big action that we haven't yet actioned out of that was that we were going to revise the schedule to allow for some periodic regional discussions on key themes. And so that was the one big thing that came out of that session, is that we felt that was the low-hanging fruit that we should start with. So we haven't brought back a schedule yet, nor have we brought back how we would establish the first agenda or all agendas for the year. So that is in staff's court. We will bring that back shortly.
Thank you, Daniel. I have all my notes from the planning session, and my file. I couldn't find any of that information. So thank you very much. The cognitive decline is being now on display for you all to see. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I was actually going to ask about that when it came to my turn. You were Alberni-Clayoquot Health Network, Director Cote.
Thank you. Marcy did a great presentation today, earlier at the board meeting, and we have a meeting next week. Thank you.
Thank you. West Coast General Hospital. I will be attending a meeting on April the 29th regarding the proposed new health clinic that we're trying to get for Port Alberni. Any other reports from anyone? Seeing none, get a motion that the Regional Hospital Board of Directors receive reports A through G. Moved by Director Sparrow, second by Director Coots. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. No unfinished business, no late business. Is there any questions online, Cynthia?
No questions received through email and none received through Zoom.
Thank you. Could I motion to adjourn? Moved by Director Sparrow, seconded by Director Siga. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. I would like to make the motion to close the meeting to the public as per the Community Charter, Sections 91A, personal information about identifiable individual who holds or is being considered for position as an officer, employee, or agent of the Regional District or another position appointed by the Regional District. Can I get a seconder to close the meeting, please? Moved by Director Hager, second by Director Coots. All in favor? Any opposed?